Right one. I'm not special. Oh.
So, Sean, what are you working on?
A sunken ship?
Oh, cool.
I had to put somebody to work while I work on other things, trying to get stuff done for special projects. So I needed to bring my Christmas elf in here to do some work.
I'm not your elf.
Call me elf one more time.
I'm gonna kill you.
Oh, that's a cool flyer set, Bill.
Oh, thank you. I got this hat from a guy who lived out on Long Island, and he was a youth hockey coach, and his player on his youth hockey team was Randy Jones.
Okay.
You remember Randy Jones was a flyer for a brief cup of coffee?
Yeah.
And this was an official Flyers hat from the team, and the guy, he's a Bruins fan, so he refused to wear it. And Randy Jones, so he knew I was a Flyers fan, so one of our training sessions, he brought the hat for me. Said, it's an official hat, it's a team hat. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Ohio State won another one yesterday.
Yes, they did. They didn't look too good doing it.
West Virginia did not play so well.
Yeah, unfortunately. They dropped like a stone in the polls, too.
Yeah, well, you lose to an unranked team.
Like, Iowa State can't do a thing the whole season except beat, like, the top team.
Yep.
That's it. That's all they're good for.
All right, here we come. Ben's on. The movie's on.
Yep.
Hello.
No.
Welcome to another fun Gabbin at Lord Peakshaven. This one may be the most fun of all. This is going to be one of the toughest ones of all because I got papers. I got reference points everywhere on this one because I was cross-referencing Order of Ulick sheets with my timeline I used to do with the log sheets for adventures to make sure I cross-referenced everything. And so here we are. I see Then's on. We got Lanuti on. And I got with me DM Marco from Ohio. One, from the Slap Ventures of Slap, and a player in my group since like 83, 84, right? Was that about it we said? And
it's about 83, 84.
And we're going to call the other gentleman, we're going to call Master Crafter Bill from now on. How's that sound?
No, it sounds too much like Master Blaster.
I was going to say Master something else, but not. So Crafter Bill's on as well, and I think Sean is hanging out with him, and they're doing some crafting. Because this is the weird thing about this one. We're going to talk about our campaign from the start, from the very, very beginning. And we may not even get to when Bill has any characters. I mean, I thought that I could do this in one show, and I'm doing the notes, and I'm like, oh my god, this is insane. The level of notes on stuff. So, but hey, thanks Tom. I appreciate you watching. Tim said he may even hop on tonight too. I talked to him. So let's just start with this. You're DMing. And you want to do You play an adventure with some friends. You play another adventure with some friends. You play 8 adventures with some friends. You play maybe one group of characters. Maybe then you switch up to another group of characters. That doesn't make a campaign. Like, how do you get from that spot, from playing adventures and doing something to developing a campaign? And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. That's what I'm really excited. So hopefully we can help out some of our viewers with that. So, and I think we all have some good expertise. We've been doing it for so long. So we're not only going to talk about ours, but we're going to talk about how to get your own campaign set up. And here's a nice little story. So I'm at Tiki Tiki today, and I'm getting this for Walt. His Friday Pass to PAX is he's going to be my assistant in the first DM session I do at PAX Unplugged on the 30th.
Oh, very cool.
And I run into
Leonard Lakofka.
Michael Gross, Bill. He's one of Alan Grove's friends with his 2 kids.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes.
Road Dog, yeah.
Yeah, but it's Michael Gross. So he's on Sages, Cannon Fire. He's on all the sites, and we were talking, and he lives in Audubon now. And so, and he's first and second edition guy, been playing since 80. And it's amazing who you run into. So we exchanged information and cards and stuff, and we'll see. Maybe he'll hop on tonight, say hello. We friended each other on Facebook. Another connection, and he's got some kids that he played. He was there buying dice for his kids. So, and one of them was like 4 or 5 years old. So I think it's going to be a really cool opportunity again to figure out the community's actually growing, and I'm excited about it. So everyone's got their notes here, right? What a mess this is. I did my best to organize this, but we have, oh my gosh. So this is before both you gents, but if we go all the way back to the beginning, there he is. Tim is on. Tim, hang tight, dude. Hang tight. Your part's coming very shortly, man. Hang tight on this. So the early years, 78, 79, I get the D&D basic box set, the one with the chits in it. I showed the chits to Brian one day. He's like, "What the hell's that?" A sheet and of uncut chits, and
I used to have one of those myself.
Yeah, and they keep on the Borderlands too, not In Search of the Unknown. And I didn't know what the heck. I was like, "What do I do with this?" Right? And then Bill Runzer, one of my the guys I originally played with, he got a hidden shrine at Tomoacon, and that's the one. It's the same one. It's on my wall. And
all right, Jay, hold on a quick second.
Yeah.
Step back a second. So why don't you tell the viewers why you got it?
Why?
Or how you got it?
All right. How I got it. Well, enlighten me, because I don't know where you're going on this.
I'm just getting into what even possessed you to even start playing.
That's a good. I don't know. I don't. Did I tell you a story? Because I don't.
No. I've just been curious all these years.
I think I had an affinity at that time for box set games, right? Like cool Avalon Hill box set games, right?
Okay.
Like war games. We were war gaming. So, all right, hold on. All right, I got it right here. This. I was war gaming with Bill Runzer, all right? Warsaw Pact. Great war game. Is it Avalon Hill? Task Force Games. This, right here. We're war gaming with this. And Dungeons and Dragons was a box set just like this. I'm like, cool. And so I don't know if I got it for Christmas or my birthday. I can't remember in 78. I think it was my birthday for 78. Someone gave it to me. I wish I could remember who. And then I'm like, what do I do with it? And we started reading the rules. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. You can play an elf, which is like a fighter mage, a halfling, fighter, thief, And so we didn't know what the hell we were doing back then. So we made characters based on ourselves and on our own names. So I had Jay the Great. Of course, I had to put Great after it, right? Bill Runzer had William the Conqueror, because that sounded cool, right? From Matt McPherson had Matt, and Alan, of course, had Alan, right? So Alan had Alan, and we had our own characters, and we just ran stuff. We ran adventures. So Bill Runzer ran Hidden Shrine at Tomoacon first, and That was pretty intense, actually. He ran that, and then we just started doing basic stuff. And who knows? I don't even know how many times we went through Keeping the Borderlands. You know, you go because you had how many modules back then? You're a kid, you're a 13-year-old kid. You're not going out and buying stuff like we do now. And then I remember though the first Christmas, I got the fighter set of figures. Remember the Fighting Men figures, which we had.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we got those enamel
Ambulance van is from that.
We got those Testors enamel paints, and I was actually using a toothpick to paint them because the enamel will glop on. You're like, what? And and it's like sticking on. You're like, it won't come off the. There wasn't expensive brushes back then, so when we started the campaign way back in the 78, 79, before we even started. It was, I wouldn't even say it was a campaign. We were just messing around playing as kids, and I don't even think we did a second group of players. We just did ourselves. That's why Alan we're 22nd level, right? I think my character got up like 18th, 19th. Alan was 22nd. Matt was 16th. William the Conqueror was like 18th. Went straight up that high because we didn't know what we were doing. We had henchmen because you had the Rogues Gallery book, right? So the rule was, you took the Rogues Gallery book and you could pick just any character out of that, and make a henchman out of it. So that's how we got all those characters to start. Like William the Conqueror's favorite character, he had a bard named Bongo Master. So
Bongo Master.
And I had Methy and Joe, and
Yep.
I had all the chicks from the Facts of Life named after all these characters. That's so it was.
Oh, I never even put that together.
Yeah,
Oh my God,
Joe,
Natalie,
Natalie,
yeah.
Blair the monk.
That's funny.
Yeah, that is funny. I got even funnier one for you. If you watch Me TV, it's a channel out here, 802. They had episode 6, season 1 of Buck Rogers on last night, and that's a connection to an upcoming character too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, you had Buck Rogers as a character.
I did have Buck Rogers as a character too, but I
Yep.
had someone else as a character too who's still alive and in the campaign. It was in that episode. So
Okay.
Ooh, Hawk?
what? No,
Hawk?
no, come on. That's stupid, Buck Rogers. That's second season. Hawk and the Searcher.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
Hawk-
because the first season was really cool, Buck Rogers.
Yeah. Exactly, Then. The joke took 38. No, this joke takes a little less than that. But Buck Rogers is from 79, so it's almost 39 years for this one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So our first thing, I would say this: if you're developing a campaign, and let's just talk about that first.
Don't use Buck Rogers.
He's like 20. He was like 27th level or
Or
something.
or the Facts of Life.
The
or
Facts of Life girls.
Yep.
Yes, the adventures themselves have to link in somehow, but they don't all have to be vital. I mean, we do one-off. Like the one-off last night really had nothing to do with the campaign as a whole, but it was a group in the campaign from Thursday night.
Right.
And it'll like start developing over time. I think that's where we went. But my first group of players, I mean, Alan, who plays now, was in my original group before we even started the campaign, knowing what we're doing. And this is junior high at this point. So, Mark, when did you start?
Well, I started playing originally with Tim and Walt.
Right.
And John. John actually led us through. So the very first character that I ever made was a halfling fighter named Evro.
I never heard of
And
him. Wow. Evro.
And then later on ended up starting an elven mage named Adrian. And then the third character I ever made, which is still in the campaign today technically,
Okay.
was a paladin named Gloom. Glewm.
Yeah, who's now named what?
Railstone Gradavis the First.
Railstone Gravis. Yes.
I have a character that is literally about,
Wow.
in actual time, is about 35 years old.
And what year was that,
Big.
you think, you started playing that?
Oh wow, that
82?
well, that was back in the time, and you didn't even mention in the notes, but that was back in the time when we were playing with Jeff Moore.
Well, I forgot Jeff. Okay, you see, I knew I forgot someone in the early years. That
Yep.
actually will go. That actually goes to official campaign start.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about Jeff. That was during high school. So, Bill,
Yeah,
when
to
when
me,
did you-
that probably would have been around, because I was playing back around like the 4th, 5th grade, somewhere around there.
Okay. So it's about that same time frame.
Yeah.
Bill, what
yeah,
about
about
you,
37
man?
years ago.
When did you start playing with anyone?
I'm gonna say my first introduction was probably it was elementary school. My best friend's older brother, who was 4 years older than us, was playing, and I cannot remember the name of his character, but I remember that his friend had a barbarian that was Lord of Chaos. And the brother's character was a Grand Druid.
Okay.
But I mean, those guys, they were playing. They had chainmail sets that they played chainmail rules, and then they moved on to advanced. So we're talking 77, 78.
Yeah, around
When I was first introduced to it, and then much later, of course, they had the barbarian and stuff, the characters. But yeah, so it's been since the early 70s, mid 70s.
Wow.
Yeah, so we all go back that far.
Oh yeah. Well, and I would even say that it's kind of like the kids campaign that you run today for your kids. When John was actually running it for us. So imagine we're running 1st and 2nd level characters in G1. Okay.
Right. Oh my god.
Because that was what was available at the time.
Yeah,
and so
that's true.
I for some reason I remember we played on like Tuesday afternoons, and I also remember distinctly that John obviously just kept things just interesting. So you got a bunch of kids that are probably not much. Walt was probably the oldest, and he was maybe 12 at the time.
Yeah.
And you just got to keep things going to keep it interesting. So I can't even really say it was based on any kind of rules other than the characters just themselves.
Which is fine. You got to start somewhere.
You have to start
absolutely.
somewhere. And that's what we did. That's what we did until I got to high school. And I remember distinctly, now I don't remember what module it was. And this is where we link into this early years thing, an official campaign start. Walt was at my lunch table, and he had either A3 or A4. I can't remember which one it was. Whatever one's beige color. It was like, oh, you play D&D. And that's how I met up with, Walt. We were, running still and running track cross country. And then from there, that's when he introduced me Tim, and that went on from that. But before that, I'll say timeline, and I looked through this. I tried to cross-reference everything. So we had lots of henchmen. Bill Runzer DM'd occasionally. Alan ran the frickin' one, Expedition to Barrier Peaks, and he always still talks about that to this day, right? Always. Oh, I killed 3 of Jay's henchmen off in that one, So, and then so I looked back, and we started at the Battle of Emerald Meadows 569, and we ran through 583. Now, the funny thing about this is this is before any of these extra box sets come out or anything like that. So any group that starts now, they start in 581, right? So after all these years, they're starting, the 5th 5e people are starting in 581, and we went past that in like 1980. That's the crazy thing. We started so far back, with what we were doing, and the big war with the Sea Princes happened back at that time. We had, and I found some handwritten maps. I got them up. I gave you guys copies. One of them shows like how far the Sea Princes got in all of the Sheldamar Valley. It has the cross line on it, and showing all the, areas that were holdouts like Axewood and Silverwood and Rushford, where Winchester Estate is, and all that. It shows all that on the map. And that should be popping up. There's 2 of them. I tried to blow it up and scan it in and clean it up as much as possible because that paper's falling apart, But so there it is. There's one of the showing, and there's some. If you notice on here, it says Cavalier site. It doesn't even say Altamira on this map. So this is like, this map is so old. Showing all of the things that were going on very early in the campaign because I didn't want to write on a map because we didn't have scans, we didn't have all that. You couldn't print out, anything back then. It was all dot matrix printers. And then this map here shows the Sea Prince's War line. They went all the way up through Bissell, Grand March, a little bit overkill. Showing the areas, and unfortunately, Allen's Keep is just right off the corner of this. You can't even see it, unfortunately, where it used to be, and they down near Rushford. But those maps.
Well, it used to be. It's still there.
It's still there underwater. But that's so the characters were all Monty Hall back then, and it's before any of we had any other players besides myself, Alan, Matt, and Bill. And so the Order of Ulick was formed in 583. That's before Tim Walt played at all, ever. So the Order of Ulick existed before they even came in. But to get into that official campaign start era, you're looking at 1980 through 1985, years in high school. And we started in the World of Greyhawk roughly 584. And Tim and Walt were the first two in. Now, Alan disputes this, but I argue with him. He did not play through high school. He says he did, but he didn't play this time. It was you three. It was Tim, Mark, and Walt. Yep. And that was it. And me. And that was it. And Jeff Moore occasionally, right? I can't think of, I forgot Jeff. But I can't think of anyone else at that time who jumped in with us at that time. So, it was right then that, the first adventure that was ever logged was the Battle of Outpost Number 1, and I recall it was Pete Moss and Skeeve Floorman. I can't remember if Walt. Don't see any references to Walt having a second character anywhere. I can't find that. If he did, I don't know who it was. It may have been Ishtar, right? Because she was neutral. I think it may have been that character because she was like a. Changed classes.
That would sound about right.
Yeah, I can't figure out if Walt had a second character back then, real early on. But these second generation characters were Monty Hall too. I mean, the stats were crazy. Yes, and 50. Yes, Tim. Yes, and 50 pikemen and two. Absolutely, and 2 pikemen survived, and we have relatives. Yep. Yes, we still use them to this day as references for certain.
And one of those pikemen is a player character.
Yep, the Battle of Outpost 1, Tim, you're absolutely correct. That's the first adventure we ever did. What's that? Yes. You want to explain that? Go ahead, Bill. Explain that.
Well, one of Alan's characters down the road was a simple pikeman. And he developed the character years later because there was one left who ended up becoming Ulysses, correct?
Well, yeah, Ulysses, but he's old now, and he's a priest of Uko, right? Yes.
Yep. But he's one of the 2 surviving men.
No, Ulysses was no. Ulysses was a Sea Prince's leader. Ulysses was a Sea Prince's leader that changed sides and then started from scratch. Yes.
Who's the one I'm thinking of then? Because I thought it was Alan that had that one.
No. Ulysses.
No, I had the son of one of them.
Existus.
Yep.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Yep.
That's a little different. Yeah, that was the was the other one. Yeah.
And Bill, I still have the sheet right here.
See, look at that, Claude Xistus, killed by spider. Yes. So. That was the first one we did, and then some other references going way back. I looked through everything, and I wanted to. So with this generation of characters, you had some really high. We did all high level stuff all the time, and it was draining. It was tough. It was very tough to do that. The only exception I would say during that time in high school was Tim DMing. And I kind of put them in the second generation, but Tim would run stuff like his Wizard of Id and Dark Tower, and he ran that for my characters Hawk and Gazumba, right?
Yep.
And he had Fensick and Leuven. And then I forget who you had. Randy? I think Randy was in there occasionally.
Yeah, I think I had Randy and David.
Rendell, maybe David, yeah. And so Tim would run that stuff, and that was my only breather from the super high stuff, and it was draining, man, because it was getting tougher and tougher to do stuff. I mean, when you think about it, you got to the point where you're fighting with against archdevils, right? So in 22, duel with an archdevil. So it got really, pretty high level. So some highlights. All right, here's a question for everyone out there. Name the first PC of that era to join, the first true PC to join the Knights of Ulick.
Jay the Great.
PC. Not
He was a
NPC.
PC at that time.
No. First PC.
No idea. They're well before my time.
Yeah, and before mine too. If I was to hazard a guess, I would say maybe either Foreman or
That's
Pete
an
Moss.
NPC. None of mine.
That's what I'm saying, Foreman or Pete Moss, because Foreman was Tim's, I thought.
Incorrect. Foreman was second. Pete Moss was third, I think. And then, so it was Skeeve.
Oh, okay.
No,
See, I thought Steve was way down on the list.
no, Skeeve. Skeeve was the first. I looked, Skeeve was 12th on the list to join. Right after Bill Laughlin.
Yeah.
Bill Laughlin was 11th. Then Foreman was 13th. Pete Moss was 14th. And Allen was 15th. Because I felt bad for him. I think I put him in after that. Yes. And so then it goes way down before another one joins up.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I think it's Gilgalad after that. I think it's actually Gilgalad's next. I think it's Gilgalad. It was next after that. So, those old school time, we didn't play that many characters either. So when we, when we started the campaign up, it was just a few players, a few different characters. Yes, Skeeve was great. I mean, we did a lot of fun stuff with Skeeve. We did the whole Highport thing, but that was after college.
Yeah, it was up much later.
Tim was up in Watertown, New York, and stuff at that point, and doing his military. So, the official campaign start era, you added in Hawk, Gazumba, Skeeve, Floorman, Pete Moss, Fensick, Leuven, Funk, and Heidi Peak from the G series, and then we played another group. Still no Allen. I know he argues there was, but Allen was not in at this point. Swain, Elijah, Charisse, bingo. Assassins of Death, Charisse. I got that from a Buck Rogers episode.
Yep.
Right. Schlem and Meal, Lena, Britomart, Jeanette. Right. Jeff Farman.
Yep.
Arwen.
Yep.
Gridley.
Yep.
Tim's Gridley and Gilgalad. They're the ones I can remember that were playing.
Oh, you forgot probably the most important and annoying one in that whole group.
Okay. Who'd I
Murdoch
miss?
the Mighty.
I look.
Murdoch should have been in that group.
I think I put him in the next group coming up. I did miss Murdoch, didn't I?
Yep.
Yes, I
Because
did.
remember, Gridley went down the river.
Right, I
And
did.
I think
And-
Murdoch,
yes.
Tim brought Murdoch after.
Yes, you're absolutely correct. I missed them, so sorry about that. Yes, Gridley got killed, and here you go. So I wrote down, here are our highlight adventures from this era. We'll start with just this discussion. So we got number 15, The Secret of Bone Hill. Hey, Leonard Lakofka. And 16, The Assassin's Knot. Hey, Leonard Lakofka, by Gridley, right? So Gridley died off in adventure number 16.
Yep.
Number 8, There Are Many Unpleasant Ways to Die. The first running of that ever. 12, First running of ever of Citadel by the Sea. Tom's favorite. Yes, he was brave but foolish. And from that point on, Tim, don't go out on your own. Don't split the party. Number 10, a hardcore classic, Return to Allen's Castle. The first exhibition ever to Allen's Castle. Not the one where Leuven gets killed on. This is a previous one, the first one we ever did. So, yes. No, we're not there yet, Tim. No, we're not even close to that yet. Not even close. That's the next generation when we'll get to that. Number 4, Knights Invade Monmurg. So, adventure number 4 is Allen's permanently killed off from a Talisman of Ultimate Evil. So, Allen's character, 22nd level priest, only lasted 3. You see, and I don't think Allen was even. I was NPCing him at the time. Let's see what else. The Dragonlance Fiasco, number 19 through 21. So the only good thing about that was what Swain came back with a wife.
With a wife.
And a yeah.
No, not until long after. That happened long after. That's when he met Lorana.
Yes.
Oh.
Tom, Macrash and Phuket are coming up. We're so early. They don't even exist yet. That's how early we are. So sit tight, all you guys. That's what I said. This one's gonna take forever. Let's see what else. Duel with an Archdevil, number 22. Floorman.
Yep.
Tim's character Floorman's permanently killed off. Right? So we're at 22 now. And that's about where we ended up in this old original, I'd say, official campaign start group. It goes only that far because, yes, it goes to that era, which is around the 589, 90. We started deciding to do some other groups because I got Citadel by the Sea number 2. So, and Secret of Bonehill 2, Assassin's Knot 2, Citadel by the Sea 3. So, let me see. Any other thoughts from this time period? Mark, you were playing.
Okay, so so I remember Bonehill and Assassin's Knot pretty well. Obviously, I remember the Dragonlance ones.
Yeah.
I don't think I was in the original Many Unpleasant Ways to Die. I don't recall being that
I think
that far back.
I think we had I know Gilgalad was on it because Walt talks about it to this day.
Yep.
I think Lena. Did I put Lena down? No, it wasn't Lena. No,
Nope.
It was Britomart. It was Britomart and Schlemmen and Gilgalad. I think he had 3. I think I ran it just with Tim and Wall at that time.
You might have. I
Yeah.
think the first one that I officially joined was actually number 12, was Citadel by the Sea.
Okay.
Because I think that's because you had run that. I think you ran it as that first level adventure.
Swain. For Swain?
Yep.
Yeah. So
yeah, it was Swain, Elijah, Charisse, Arwen.
Arwen got killed off in the
Yep.
coming up in an adventure we're going to talk to. So
Yeah, Gridley, and I don't remember who Walt had at the time because it wasn't Lane and Britomart because Lane and Britomart were ones that he started
And
for stuff
Schlemmen.
I was.
and Schlemmen
No,
too. It wasn't
Schlemmen.
Schlemmen.
Because Schlemmen he ran with the adults
Yeah.
at the time.
I don't know, but I know he was there.
Yeah, no. I remember him being there. I just don't remember which characters it was that he had.
Yes, that's the 12 Ogre Mage was where Floorman got killed. That's Duel
That was Duel with the Archdevil.
That's adventure number 22, Tim, and that's where he lost Floorman. So we're at that era. That's 588 on the sheet here on the Knights of Yule campaigns. It's right here on page 1. I mean, they got 15, 16 pages of adventures. So
And that's the one where we lost a lot of people out of the knighthood. A lot of those Monty Hall characters, correct?
I killed a lot of them off. All the old school ones. If you look in here on deaths, you got deaths. Oh my God! Natalie, Buck Rogers, Alan. This is 588. Wilbur Jones, Elijah Winchester II, Baradian, Drusen, Torthus. People Bill's never heard of. Kareem, Garand.
No.
Rendell's 588.
Oh, I forgot about Rendell.
Yeah, that was one of
He
yours.
died in that too.
Yes. So that's that time frame of 588. Absolutely.
Yes, he died. He died of all the overlapping cones of cold.
Skeeve always made it out, Tim. Always, right? So from that, some of the classes we started with Pete Moss archers were developed, right? And bounty hunters were developed because he had Ishtar, and so we had 2 classes that were added in beside the base stuff you could do in the player's handbook. The Arnt Arcana had just come out at the end of this era, and we weren't playing with it yet, really. We really hadn't even started with it. So you have a lot of multi-class characters. You have a lot of fighter clerk mages. You have a lot of... Yes, absolutely. Rod of Cancel. See, Tim's remembering everything like it was yesterday. Rod of Cancellated that prismatic sphere around the main mage. I don't think of any other classes at that time. It was Archer and Bounty Hunter were the 2 classes we had added. So we hadn't really. There was no specialization. There's none of that. Seventh Level Fighter got 3v2 that round. There was no two-fisted fighting either at this point. None. So some things that are about to come on a little later on. When you go to the next jump up, this is the cool. I say this is the golden era of us playing, the first golden age. In my opinion, I love this time frame. Did he have two-fisted Gridley? I don't. Maybe he did. I thought we went to. Maybe we did a special rule for him. It was -2, -4, but there was no two-fisted fighting where 18 gave you better offs at that point. I don't think that was out yet. But I could be wrong on that. But I'm almost positive. 2 daggers. Okay. Well, that was a speed factor thing. Remember? So I already told this story multiple times, but. I'm in the car with Tim, and we're driving to Jack and F's house to play a D&D adventure. I never met Tim before in my life. I get in the car. Walt invited me. I get in the car. We're in the back seat, and Tim looks at me, and the first thing he ever says to me ever is, "So, do you think that because of the speed factor of a dagger, someone would you willing, like a mage, should be able to attack 2 times in 1 round?" That's the first thing Tim ever said to me in my life. And it just sticks with me to this day.
And it was the God honest truth. It still should be.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Tim, that's a great memory, man. So, any other old school, original, official campaign start discussion on that? That was still a Monty Hall era. It was. It was pretty Monty Hall. We had limited characters. They were all super high level. So, what is my answer on that? I think you know what the answer is. Is that I don't want to LL Leonard Lakofka the game system, because then we're using I had a nice big email argument with Leonard about individual initiative that included speed factors and casting times and all this fun stuff. So we're not going there, dude.
To this day, I still wonder how in the world that even happened. How they figured that out without having computers or smartphones or anything.
But see, they were so diligent. I mean, you've seen Leonard Lakofka with his topography maps, and down to every single serving boy and girl in an entire city you write up. That's what you did back then. You did it all by hand. You logged everything, and the detail was unbelievable. Now it's more of that. Yeah, they made it up. Exactly, Tim. They made it up. Like that minus with like plate mail is minus against a sword, but chainmail's not, and all these weird stuff against armor. I mean, I don't get a lot of that.
Yeah.
But that's stuff that's not used anymore. So, but you're right. I mean, it's the early, and they've weeded all that out, and we weeded it out immediately.
Right.
It gets to a point where it's game balance, and this is a campaign thing for anyone watching. You got to figure out what rules don't make sense for your group, and right off the bat, Tim's right. AC adjustment makes the yes, and Then says it would try to give him a nosebleed. AC adjustment bogs the system down. Weapon speed factor bogs the system down. Hey, Sprocket's on too. Hi, Sprocket. How you doing, man? So I just I love that we were smart enough to not. Well, you can just see, you just saw that I used Girls from the Facts of Life, and no one knew that for 38 years. But that's how I got all those names for those characters early on. So, and then from Buck Rogers as well. So, the next generation, World of Greyhawk years 591 to 600 for us. The time frame, 1985 through, I think, 89 is what we're talking about. So this is right after graduating high school, college, going back and forth a lot. Christmas is home. We played a lot when people were home. Summers when people were back, we played a lot. The summer of '87, we're going to talk about what we did, and Tom's going to reference that, and Tim's going to remember that, the great trip of all time down to where you were staying, right? And that was great. And we're going to get to that, and that's going to be a fun discussion. But this is what I call the third generation of characters. The players: Tim, Walt, Marco, Tom Lanuti, who's on, Tom and back, Gary Scharf,
Eric Sharp,
Alan, right? Because he's back. Wayne, Bill Reese, And then the others, which I'm not going to mention the others, they don't deserve it. The others don't deserve it. But did I miss anyone there that deserves mention? And don't say Michael Baton.
No. But that was that golden age. That's where the great character came from.
Greatness himself.
Exactly. No, I can't think of any other. I mean, the only other two players that come to mind were Derek and Sleepy. I can't. Drew,
yeah. Yeah, so you look back then, and I'd say this is where the campaign took. We had the Knights of Ulick, but this is where it took form, I think, with this group of adventurers. So some of the characters a lot of these are still around. You'll know these names: Ashley Winchester. I'm sorry, no. Andre Winchester. I put Ashley down by accident. Elaine Winchester, Devitt, Sam, David Gradavis, Sir Prendergast, Boris, Glamdring, Herbie the White, Ace Broadhead, Tom the Vindicator, Emerson Winchester III, Elijah Winchester III, Boyd.
Nope. Elijah was the one before.
Yes, Elijah's one before. Emerson III. My bad. My bad. I looked at it twice. Yes, you're right. Boyd. Sir Trexler, Arathorn Arcturus. That gets and I'm not mentioning Wayne's guys, so.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, but that era is yes, well.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Then you nailed it right on the head.
Thursday night.
Yep.
Thursday night, Michael Baton will be being played. Thursday night. We are all so excited.
Yeah.
Are we?
Oh, is this dude? You're gonna be laughing your ass off, Bill. I guarantee.
All I will say is for those that have actually seen Gilpinus and you've seen how much hatred and disdain has been spewed forth by players, you have seen nothing yet.
Yes. Tim just said I hate Derek. Yeah, Tim, we don't even count him. He played a couple times, and we don't count the RCA, Lynn Schaefer's boyfriend, and all them, and a couple other players here and there. We don't count them, and like Bill Walters played once, and Johan played once. We don't count those.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Bill Walters.
Yes,
one of the most famous characters. Etop Luck.
Etop Pluck, exactly, and he finished out. I actually used Etop Pluck as the NPC in an adventure when we played down in Fairfax, Virginia. So third generation of characters, the balance is getting much better. I'm learning how to DM. The Unearthed Arcana has come out, so multi-class is still really in style. Cavaliers and Cavalier Paladins are in super style, but we got confused because the Dragon Magazine article was freaking great, and the Unearthed Arcana version sucked. And we're like, and so all the Winchesters were the Unearthed Arcana version to start. We're like, but it was brutal. It was a big letdown. Barbarians had come out in Unearthed Arcana, and there were a few. Tim had Snorri Gunderchuction and Atarava, and they were major thorns in the side when he ran stuff. And Snorri was one of the old, and he had Fang Runefist with 5 intelligence. It's one of the oldest barbarians I remember. And I do remember, though, when we went to Jack and F's house that night, everyone was playing barbarians that night because the book had just come out. So it came out a little bit earlier than that, but we didn't really start using him until then. Some custom classes. I developed a Necromancer around this time, right? Because the spheres were out and there was enough spells to develop a class, finally, based around the Necromancer.
But I think that was NPC only at the time.
It was. Good.
I went to it was NPC only because you didn't anything that was deviant from there. From the main classes, I don't think he allowed us to play.
Well, it got to the point where we had to decide some things about what we wanted to do. Like, I didn't want Assassins being played still to this point. So Bounty Hunters were really in vogue at this point, too.
Yep.
There were a lot of early on Bounty Hunters that came out. I'm looking for something I thought I wrote down. The first and second. Oh, okay. All right, so let's go back to the other group, and I messed up. Back to the other group early on. The arch nemesis in the campaign, Makarash. He appears in adventure number 5, which is the first challenge. So Alan is dead, but that's the first time Macrash appeared for everyone in adventure number 5. All right, and he was in Duel with an Archdevil, and that's where he got what happened to him. How did I forget that? He got imprisoned by Steve, right?
Yep.
In that adventure as well. So Tim has lost Floormond, imprisoned Macrash in Adventure 22 Duel with an Archdevil, and so that's where we are. And now Macrash is gone for the time being. I haven't brought him out again yet. So some highlights from this era, where the Order of Ulix finally have an arch nemesis we're fighting. Macrash is the big one, but the second big one hasn't come yet.
Right.
So the second time I ran There Are Many Unpleasant Ways to Die, which I think is number 28. Was it that one or the third one? I think it's that one, right? Yes, it is. It's that one that I ran that we had Wayne and those guys in, and
Yep.
don't read the book, and Swain. I think Swain was on that, wasn't he?
Yeah, that was the first leadership time that
Tim, you're cracking me up, man.
Yep.
You're cracking me up.
Yeah, that was the first time that Swain was appointed as a leader to lead the group.
Yes. Hey, thanks a lot, everyone, for watching. We appreciate all the interest. So we're talking about the campaign from the beginning, and ask any questions you wish on. If you have any questions on developing a campaign, I mean, ours is 38 years old. I believe this is what happened in this. I believe Wayne grabbed it sneakily and then threw it to Derek's character, and Derek read it. I think it was
Nope.
or the other way around.
Nope.
No, okay, here we
The
go.
other way around.
It's the other way around. Derek grabbed it.
It was
threw it to Wayne.
Doran and Julak.
Doran and Julak. Okay.
Yep.
Yes. So that's who freed Macarash with a freedom spell, unbeknownst, and he came back with a plum and fury. So he was only in game time. He was out only a year in game time. So that's a key one, but going to that point. Let me see what else we got here. Some other highlights. Okay. We're going to go numerically. So 1987, the summer, and Tom will appreciate this. We're running Temple of Elemental Evil. I'm running it for the first time. A fantastic series. It started we started Village of Hamlet 32, did some other adventures, boosts up. I was actually running 2 groups at the same time through Temple of Elemental Evil. Remember that? We had the Wayne and you guys, and they had Walt, Tim, and NPCs running that. So there was actually 2 groups going in and out, foraying into the upper levels of the Temple of Elemental Evil, and it was a fantastic time. So this is only. Yeah,
well, let's go back. So actually, that started with you, me, Walt, and Gary Sharp.
Yes.
Those were the times when you and I would drive down to Glassboro.
Glassboro, absolutely. 86?
And
86.
Yep. And that was, so the original group there, you had Ashley and Prendergast, you had David II, you had Big Jim Slade.
Right.
At that time. I'm trying to remember who your other NPC was.
Well, so Bill, Tom's asking what you're doing there. You're making all this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm texturing foam.
Texturing foam.
Texturing foam. I don't know if you'll be able to make out the detail on it. Hold on, I got a picture here.
There you go.
You'll notice there's a lot of finite lines in there to represent wood grain. So once it's primed black and then dry brushed over, it'll look like wood that has wood grain in it.
I've put Bill on a special assignment to get some things done, if he can, for Thursday night.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I got a front and a middle done. So
Pictures will be up shortly on Facebook and stuff. I got the terrain up for it. We're going to have a Prelude Wednesday. We'll discuss that as well. So, absolutely. It's going to be a blast. So, with that.
Yep.
So, Temple of Mental Evil, it took us almost a year.
Yeah, I was going to say it was about a year's worth
I
of time.
had Leo McMichael, an NPC. He was an
That's
archer
right.
thief. And Leo McMichael is based on a real life person. You know, we went to high school with him. And he turned on the party and shot. It was through Wayne's, and he turned and became. You know, he went to the Temple of Elemental Evil. Actually, hired him to help assassinate all the characters. And I remember during one of the adventures, Glamdring had his mirror mental prowess, and they're running back and forth through that, and they're running through all the hallways. In the upper levels took forever, but it was a fun time. So we finished up in the summer of '87. Yeah, Tim hates everyone. So the following people: me, you. We went down to see Mark, Walt, Tom Lanuti, right?
Yep.
And then and Tim.
Yeah.
All drove in a car down to Fairfax, Virginia, where you were staying in the summer.
Yep.
And we ran 3 adventures. We finished up. First thing we did, we finished up the Temple of Mental Evil. There, right?
And that was sans the lower elemental levels. That was one of the things I remember you cut out of it.
I didn't do the what do you call them? Nodes.
The nodes,
yeah.
Because that part of it was so painful.
Yeah, we never did the nodes at all and the other thing. So we did that, and then that was first. And then we all got, we were young, and Tom was the only one. It was 18 drinking age. Tom was the only one to get beer down there or whatever. Tom got it all, and we're all drunk, and we're all belching and farting all night. That was fun. That was fun. Here comes a question from Thin. Yeah, Sugar Anus is now in our lore forever.
Yes,
absolutely. Second adventure, Tim ran, and it was called the Knights of the Eastern Sun, and I had Hawk and Gazumba, and I know Fensick and Lubin were on it, and Tom had Pellinor the Golden Paladin, and I don't remember if Gilgalad. I don't remember who else was on. I don't remember who. I'm sorry, Mark. I don't remember who you had, but. He did an awful thing. He did 2 illusions of 2 dragon heads. Everyone believed it, and it basically killed everyone but Gazumba and Fensick. And that was nasty. And then we had to get people back and all. It was a nasty, nasty adventure he ran. And that was the second adventure we did down there. So that was one of Tim's. And that was a fun time. And, if Tom's on there, he can get on Tim for that, for killing his character off in like the first couple rounds. But then the last adventure we did is on here, and it's on that map that you're showing right now, and it was called Cavalier School. And basically what it was there's open land, and if you look between where the Sis Forest, the Jewel River, and the hills in the Principality of Ulick meet, there's nothing there. So the knights all went up there to clear the land out and lay claim to it, because basically it's a disputed territory, so you figured, hey, it's a perfect spot to put something. So everyone knows, and Tim has already mentioned this, Makarash shows up, and Murdoch's like this with a weapon and his leg sticking out, and in one swing of the critical hit and the shortest sharpness, Makarash cuts off his right arm and his left leg in one swing. What? Right? So that's what Tim was talking about earlier. So that was the first adventure we ever did, and that cleared out the area of the Cavalier. It was called the Cavalier School because 3 Cavaliers were going to build big keeps. Started off, see, even things grow, and in a campaign you start somewhere. So the Cavalier School, there was a round keep, a square keep, and a pyramid keep. Those 3, and then stuff built around it. There was one. Who was the only person there?
Hoops.
Hoops' fruit stand, right? Was the only person there at the time. So and it was a crossroads. And if you look on the map, where the Principality of Ulick meets the County of Ulick and all, there's like a trade route you can see running through there up the Crowerwood, up to Celine. So it makes sense for us in our map. And that's where we put it. Now we have the city, it's just grown into a city after all these years. So we're talking 1987. So 31 years later, and we've had it for, 15 years at least. The city of Altamira is there. And we venture out of that city, which only exists in our campaign. It's pretty cool. But we developed that up. So, yes, absolutely. Yeah, he didn't disbelieve. Well, I'm sorry. See, but think about the memories, guys. I mean, right now, you got Tom and Tim on. They're both down there.
Yep.
And it's just like and that's the great thing about the game. You can keep the memories with your friends, and it lasts forever. And that's what I love about the game so much. Yep. So we had such a great time that whole weekend. And, we did one other trip, but it was a couple years later. I don't remember what year it was. That we went out to Ohio to visit you. And Gary Sharp. Tim didn't go.
I think 1990, actually.
Okay, Gary Sharp went on that one. So
yes, that was the famous "If the Sun Exploded" conversation.
Yes, and the pillow event too. A famous pillow event. All right, so some other key things. So I just want to tell that story and just know that everyone created a memory from that, and we still, like I said, talk about it to this day. And it's like I love all the guys that I play with, man. It's just like it's something you'll remember, cherish for the rest of my life. So I'm not trying to get teary eyed, but the first D&D road trip, So some other. Oh, I knew you were going to do that. So here's some other key adventures. Right after Cavalier School, number 40, Ravenloft. Doesn't get any bigger than that. The original Ravenloft module.
Yep.
One of the greatest adventures ever.
One of the greatest adventures ever. And I did run it a second time, and or maybe that was the same adventure. It was, wasn't it? It was. Bill Reese. It was the same adventure.
It was in Ravenloft?
Right? It was.
I just told that story
You did. You told it Monday night.
Yeah, Monday night.
Starting
Monday
the plot.
night.
Tim, let's see if Tim remembers this. Bill Reese is playing, and he's playing the most favorite character everyone wanted to malign back then of all time. What the hell's his name? The thief. Zeno Grimm or whatever.
Zeno Cram.
Zeno Cram. Zeno. So Tim says to Zeno, there's a guy stirring a pot. And Tim's character, Galalad, says, hey, why don't you stand here and watch him? We're going to go off deeper into the dungeon, but you should stand here and watch him. So he does. And so this guy's just stirring this pot of some kind of goop or something. And I'm like, you staying there? He's like, yeah, I'm staying there. So I'm rolling for random monster, and there's a lot of them running through Ravenloft. And eventually I roll up one, and it's like, oh, good, a Banshee. Rolls up the Banshee on a random. The Banshee comes up, screams. He fails to save and dies. So, yes. And you are incorrect, Tim. Galahad did not get old in that adventure.
No.
Galahad got old with a witch adventure. It was a witch that did that to you. It wasn't Ravenloft. So you had Galahad on that one. Galahad died, and there are many unpleasant ways to die because you pressed the wrong button. So see, memories a little bit. Yes. Some other adventures. 48, Apollo's Revenge. What happened on that one, Mark? And who was Apollo?
Honestly, I see that one all the time, but I can never remember the story.
Tom will verify this. There was a guy where we all worked in the summers at RCA. He looked like a half orc, and so we named this bounty hunter after him, named Apollo. That was his last name. And so, and he was one of the bad guys that, how Zert got away, and we used Zert later on in the second time we ran the temple, right from Hamlet. Well, Apollo was this bounty hunter that was sent out to go after the party, and then so he got a revenge, and he had the Sphere of Annihilation that killed Gazumba's wife Cyrenae, and a couple other characters on that adventure.
Oh,
that was Apollo.
That's the one I lost Honoria in as well, wasn't it?
Lost Honoria, yeah, absolutely. Yep. So that was Apollo's Revenge. Banshee once, yeah. So Banshees are still, Banshees are nasty, man. But I thought that's just a funny story. I remember that someone attacked Strahd. I believe it was Galahad and Devitt, and someone had a Sunblade, and they killed Strahd in like one round. They did like 90 points of damage to him in one round. It was disgusting. I was like, oh, this is anticlimactic. Yeah. Some other great adventures from this era. We'll do the one I want to talk about last. Egg of the Phoenix, 54. Ran it once, never run it again. It's on the Wall of Fame because it deserves to be there. One of the premier RPGA tournament module ever made. If you find those individual RPGA modules are each worth like $1,000 now. They're to the aid of Falx and all that. They're really, really expensive. This one was long and tedious and painful, and at the end, the demiplane of Sepulchre dissolves, and you gotta make one save or you're dead. And two characters failed, and one was Gary's and one was Alan's, right?
Yep.
Aragorn. So, and that is I'm telling you, that's a hardcore module. You go back to like prehistoric time in that. Pretty interesting concept, but it's long and it is really tedious. Another tedious adventure, number 57, Ravenloft 2. I ran it one time. I'll never run it again. nasty adventure. It has to do more with the division of Strahd into two personalities. The thing called the device and the machine or device or something like that, and all the townspeople were getting their spirits taken out of them. And like Azalin, this is the first. If you know anything about Ravenloft, this is the first appearance of Azalin the Lich in any adventure. It's on our Wall of Fame as well. It's a nasty one adventure to do because all these vampires and ghouls and stuff are taking the place of townsfolk over time, and if they all take it over, you lose, basically. But another long adventure that Walt had some memories on too. Okay, here are the two I want to talk about. Number 52. We've talked about this many times. Battle of South Walkwood Bridge.
Yep.
What are we? First ever seeing of Phuket, right? So
Yep.
I made up. Macrash was the main. Macrash was like Turin Deathstalker. Before Turin, we even knew who Turin Deathstalker was. Dual class fighter assassin. Okay, high level in both. So I brought in a gnome illusionist assassin, figuring this is going to be a great mixed class because you got them. If you remember in Arctic King, you had a cross-reference chart of all these different multi-classes you could do, and illusionist assassin was on there. I'm like, oh wow, this is great. So I made him up, and he had a vacancy spell and mislead spells and then shadow doors, and he was almost in non-detections. He was almost impossible to find. So he gets away in it because of something that Swain did. We won't, rehash that. But
hash that and rehash that.
yeah. So
At least
Macrash is
1,000
going out as the evil antithesis at this point, and Phuket's coming in, and he was one for a long time. So that's Battle of South Walkwood Bridge. And then a key one, number 63, Yolan's Bane. Now, I showed that in Unique Magic Items last week, Bill. Mornblade, which has nothing
Mornblade, yep.
That is where this weapon comes in, and I'm sorry, Yolan's Bane is that's a little bit later. Yolan's Bane is the Makarash's weapon that he gets corrupted by, and the story goes now they have to go and they have to turn him back to good, right? So you find out about that at this point, and that was a big turning point in the campaign as well. Now look at this. We're only 63 adventures in, and we've run 834 so far. So this just tells you, with going to school, college, everything going on. We weren't playing as much back then as we were now, or adventures were a lot longer.
You were probably playing more then.
Yeah.
More time? Yeah, you're probably right. And adventures ran a lot longer at that point.
Yeah, you were probably playing multiple nights a week too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know we've gone a whole hour. That's good. So we're pacing up pretty well. I'm trying to look through here. The Taming of Macrash is number 58. So that's the adventure where Macrash gets turned back. They go into outside of Stonheim. Macrash had a secret base, and they found he had this high-level female mage there who had Sphere of Annihilation as well. They went in, and they actually, I remember Lena had her Robe of Eyes, so I couldn't do anything to her. And that was like, that's it. No more Robes of Eyes after this adventure, right? Yeah. So they went in. It was all women, and then except for Tandor, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
Right?
Well,
yeah. And so they turned him back to good, which he was 100 years ago. And so he basically holds himself up in Wales Castle, which is the main keep of the Order of Ulick, and then just he appears a little bit later and gets killed up by Phuket. So I got some of the maps up. Right now we're showing the map showing the Pomarge and Principality Ulick, showing all the locations where all the Knight of Ulick keeps are. You see the first one out, Andre's Keep. We just did the siege event there. So we're talking about that keep's being made at this point in time, along with Herbie's Keep. That's this era of gaming with the campaign as it builds up. All the outposts are up. So I tried to show a lot of that stuff. I have the shield lands up for a future one. I just didn't want to do split this up. It would be too much, So we got to a point in the campaign where we're going pretty hardcore with some stuff, and a lot of great things are going on. It's mostly humanoids coming out of the Pomarge, led by Macarash, and going up through the Sus. That's mostly what we were doing at this point. We're running some other adventures at this point in the campaign. I'm looking here. Vault of the Drow was actually run through at this point too. We ran it the one time. All I remember is Devitt punching Fonkin in the face because Fonkin gave her a
Filter of love.
A filter of love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was classic.
Yeah, that was a classic one too. So, early on, how we had a nemesis, and that we kind of got away from that a little bit, and I think we're going to try and redevelop that. But we had a bad guy, we had a cause, so we really weren't at this point doing multiple there weren't multiple adventuring groups. It was all, we haven't evolved into that yet at all.
Yeah.
You have an adventuring group, but they all join the knights, and then it's a pool of knights.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
It was all a set of group. You actually ran stuff based upon level, and so we
Right.
could interject anybody it is that we wanted because it was all knighthood level adventures.
Right.
We didn't have like distinct mercenary groups like we do today. That we have in specific areas of the world.
We didn't accommodate the new players like this Bill and the other Bill because they didn't want to play goods all the time.
Yeah.
So we decided, Filter, Love, and Oil bring us together. I can't even imagine. Yeah, so we didn't start unique venturing groups until Greyhawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be for next week. We'll start talking about that. So, I'm trying to go through the rest of the notes here. We haven't. None of the other. All right, specialization just came on, right? So,
Well, that came on with Unearthed Arcana.
Right,
With
but here's what
Unearthed
happened
Arcana.
with specialization. Fighters weren't being played anymore because Fighter Paladins. We gave it to Fighter Paladins because we said, why do Rangers get it, but Fighter subclass of Paladins don't? And are we going to convert all our Fighter Paladins over to Cavalier Paladins? And the answer was no. So we only converted if you were allowed to convert if you wanted to. So, and then it got really crazy on the attacks. So we said, this isn't working. We're taking it away from Rangers and we're taking it away from Fighter Paladins. And to this day, they still don't get that. You have to be a Cavalier Paladin to get this. You still get specialization, but you just don't get the multiple attacks. Straight fighters get the multiple attacks because we were losing. There were no straight fighters in the game at all. They disappeared. And once again, that's something as a DM and plus players, you got to say, do you like the direction your game's going? And the answer was I didn't. I didn't like that there were no fighters anymore. I love fighters. Now, we still have a habit of doing what with fighters?
Dual classing them.
Dual classing fighters.
Yeah.
We still have a Nodnol. Tim. Hey. Hi, Fraley. How you doing, man? Thanks for watching, man. Please feel free to jump in and contribute any time to the conversation. We really we're talking about the early goings of our. Oh, okay, yes, I remember now. Average with the crossbow spec, and we, you know what, Tim, light and heavy crossbow specialization is a huge thing in the game at this point. I won't say we changed over damage on crossbows at this point in time. I think it was a little later. It's still doing the stupid 1/6, and then we made heavy crossbows 1/10 and light crossbows 1/8 beforehand. So
we didn't do that till 3rd edition came out.
Yeah, we were toying with the idea because we didn't allow specialization with longbows for fighters and stuff. We did short bow, but we wanted to leave that to archers because we figured archers were the distinct key class. And to this day, hey, Nicholas, thanks for the follow, man.
Hey, thanks for the follow, man.
Really appreciate it. Please, like I said, guys, we're almost to the question and answer phase. Ask away any questions. 38 years of this campaign, man. We want to share with everyone and bring on and help everyone. I know guys like Then have really have really, taken some of the things we've done and created some great comedy for us on the side there. And if Sugar Enos is watching, kudos to you too. So even though he can't say anything, we had our
still banned.
We had our first troll on Thursday night's broadcast. Since we've been doing this since June, we had our first troll. It was fantastic. So Mark had as moderator, had the first ban ever. It was great. He came on and put, "You guys suck at D&D," and then he just went on about Tom Tupa, some punter quarterback from 20 years ago. It was
So we were talking about the Eagles or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we watched it.
It was a classic moment, and that we'll remember that too. So so specialization was the thing that came on. We still are using the Unearthed Arcana Cavaliers and Paladin Cavaliers at this point. We're allowing what's called an Eastern Cavalier, and I think it was kind of Tim's idea, saying, well, I have the Knights of the Eastern Sun, right, Tim? And they are from the eastern side of the map. Hey, Icarus, thanks, man. Take a look at our event schedule. We got our games are Thursday night, and Mark's group plays every other Monday. The Adventures of Slap. Yep. And there's a lot of good vids on here, and I do a prelude real quickly on Wednesday. So we're around, and please, man, say anytime, say hello and ask questions. So, Hey, you know what, Fraley? That's another thing. Myself and Bill have what's called a Greyhawk Kids Adventure group. We don't stream it, but we play with our kids. And my son's 8, and Bill, Sean is 11?
10.
Yeah. And we have a boatload, and Mark jumps in, and Alan jumps in with some players, and we love it, man. It's great. It's a great thing to have.
How to get them started early.
Yep, get them started early, absolutely. So, yeah. No. Then we've had other trolls. So we're gonna get to that story in a crack. We're gonna talk about the most memorable moment of up to this point in the campaign, and we all know what it is. So,
do we?
What's that?
Are you sure?
It says it's four short words. Yeah, I think so. I think we're talking about not in the campaign, but players. I think it's it's the most memorable.
That's
thing.
it.
Yeah. So let me think here. I don't think we had throwing dagger customization as well. We were using barbarians. Barbarians we didn't give specialization to till later, not with multiple attacks. Duelists were around. That's the one I forgot. We had duelists too.
That was also an NPC class.
NPC class only. We had duelists.
Yep.
And
you also had, I want to say, the Incabulus?
The Incantatrix.
Incantatrix.
Nah,
yes.
Florentia's the only one I've ever had, and she wasn't around yet. That was with Bill. Not yet. Did not have the Incantatrix, but we did have the Duelist. The Duelist is the one I missed with the Necromancer. We had the Duelist in by now, but it was NPC.
I remember there were a few times that we went up against Duelists.
Gilliam's the greatest Duelist in the campaign, and he's in Altamira now. So he has a school in Altamira. So if anyone knows about Duelists, it's an article in the Dragon magazine. It's a great thing to add to your campaign, add some flavor. They're great. Duelist schools are a way that you can take non-specialized characters, give them a plus here and there with training. It costs money, but look up that article in the Duelist. If anyone wants us to reference it, I will look it up and we'll reference it for you and send it to you and email it to you, or I'll whisper it to you. Love the Duelist class. We allow player characters to play it now. It's a straight class only. And the most hated NPC in the campaign, Gilfinus Markham, is a Duelist. So I almost made him a Renshay. I said, nah, let's make him a Duelist. So okay. Most memorable event during this time. We're playing an adventure in Gloucester Township at the house that Garnett. I forgot Garnett.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Garnett.
That was towards the end of this era.
Toward the end, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Garnett and Oliver Queen Iraq now. So Garnett is living with Mark and Walt, and I used to go over there and we used to play. And Wayne was there, and Wayne was having a bad day, and one of his characters died, and so Wayne was the kind of guy he would write elixirs of life on his sheet just so if his character died, he could get that put on him so he wouldn't lose a point of con.
It is where the term self-preservation
Yes.
between two characters became banned.
Absolutely. So, Mark, you do it the best. Just tell what happened.
Okay, so effectively we're all sitting down around the table. Wayne's character is dead. He's going on and just having an absolute hissy fit about it. And I don't remember specifically who said
It gets dead
something
silent.
to him about his character dying, but he went off about, your character's not going to lose a point of Constitution. And the whole room was really silent. And then just out of the blue, all you heard was this muffled. It was really small. All you heard was, "When?" I mean, and it was just so tiny. And Wayne, he snapped. That's the only way to explain. He just, that's it. Pounds his hands on the table, gets up, walks over to Garnett, runs over to Garnett around the other side of the table.
Garnett, yeah.
Literally grabs him by the head, starts just laying into him with just right-handed shots, and then grabs him in a headlock. And Garnett was literally sitting by a wall,
stunned,
and Wayne is starting to ram his head into the wall.
Yeah.
Which at that time, Alan got up and said, "Okay, that's enough." And
Alan goes around him like this because Alan's like 6'4", whoop, like that. And of course, everyone else is stunned, and I'm sitting there on the other end laughing my ass off.
Laughing your ass off, as usual. Because you thought it was the funniest thing in the world.
Was Tim there for that one? I remember Tim. No, wait. I remember the one time Tim showed up and his fatigues and had these guns. He comes and he starts shooting people. He came in the house. We didn't expect him to show up. And he starts shooting people with these guns. I don't know what they were. And he takes off, and we spend all night out there playing some kind, he's on the roof.
Oh, it was a water gun fight.
It was a water gun fight. That was it.
It's when Super Soakers
Tim
first
was in
came
Ranger school in the military, yes. And he comes, and we all night, we didn't play D&D that night. We played Super Soaker fighting all night. Yeah. That was another classic time from that period. Like I said, this is a disturbing instance of a great memory, but you had to be there to just to see it. And you had troubled players, and they don't play with us anymore. And you learn, and you go and you move on. And
that's probably the most important rule about starting a campaign of any kind.
Yep.
Is know your players, know the room effectively. Is you got to know how to take care and kind of be, quote unquote, a little bit of that den mother, and not be an ass like Jay and just laugh at them when they go ballistic.
Well, come on, I was an ass then too. It's before I met my wife.
Ben.
Thank you very much.
The most important thing is look, it's about having fun at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
Okay. And granted, you can have there's people that get picked on. There's people that jokes that happen and so forth, and characters die. It's part of the game. And so that's why there's, the ability to raise characters and so forth. But you need to make sure that you don't have players that take it so seriously that it ends up being some sort of train wreck and something that ends up getting hopefully not read in the news later about how somebody just lost their mind about it.
Yeah, so I'm just responding to a couple. Was it cheating? No offense, says that terminology.
Those books were not written at that time.
Yeah, the books evolved. Well, all right. So this is a personal note thing, gents out here. First off, we started off in 1980, and I started in '78. But the campaign's from 1980. Fraley, Ravenloft, the original Ravenloft is one of the best modules ever written. I mean, I love Temple of Elemental Evil. It's probably, the best one I've ever seen, but Ravenloft's up there. It's on our Wall of Fame. If you scroll down a little bit off the picture, you'll see our Wall of Fame of all the published modules, and Ravenloft's on there. I mean, that's, and you'll see a lot of modules. You go, oh my God, look at that and that and that. So it's down a little bit. But I will say, I'll say this on, where was I going with this? Personally, 89, okay, I don't know, this is going to sound crazy. 89 was my personal golden year. And I look back, and that was the year that it just was insane with social life and playing and all, but 89 was the golden year. So that shows you how freaking old I am now, man. So I'm 22 years old at the time, and we're having all sorts of fun. And I've been in the bar scene for a year, but I still play D&D with my friends. But this era. Like I said, this is the golden era of us playing D&D. First real truth era. Our campaign hasn't evolved yet into adventuring groups. Still at this point, you do it. You're adventuring with a group, and there's no name to the group. You're adventuring a group and getting the characters up like 5th, 6th, 7th. Then you start doing Night of York adventures all the time. So there's no niche. Very rarely is there a niche for a neutral character at this point. So we haven't really evolved at that point to do that. Right, Mark? I mean, Lena was the exception, right? And a couple of Waltz were the exception. But mostly every single character that we adventured at that point was a good character.
Well, they had to be, because you were either part of the knighthood or you weren't.
Yeah, so we
haven't... That was it. That was the...
Yeah, we haven't changed it so that now you can be in a knighthood and be in a different adventuring group yet. And we're going to talk about that next week at part 2, which will be To the Present. We're going to start out on next Sunday night and do that part. This part was the old school part where I'm so glad Tim was on. I'm so glad Tom's on. I'm so glad that you guys contributed to this. I wish Walt was on, but he's seeing his father. Yes, Fencing was CM for a long time. All right, so Tim's on. We got to tell this story. This is Tim. All right. I told this just recently. Unique magic items. I told this last week in our Gabbin. Fenson's walking around with this thing called a lightning rod, right? And so I cast a lightning bolt as the evil mage, and the lightning rod absorbs it, right? So I was like, wow, that sucks. That's a great item. I don't know if Luke gave it to him DMing or whatever. So Fenson's carrying this lightning rod, and then so next round the guy casts fireball, and Tim goes, the lightning rod absorbs it, and I'm like, it's a lightning rod, dude. It's not. It doesn't absorb fireballs. So that was this will yes, Glamdring was neutral too. The no, just no. This is one of the first instances of me saying no, just no to Tim. Right? Was that this lightning rod does not absorb fireballs. So right, Tim? Yes. Flaming missiles.
Flaming missiles. Yeah. Yep, it did. Yep.
And then Frederick was so crazy. He took his finger and he dug out the flesh of his finger right here, on his ring finger, whatever one that hell that is. Put a ring of regeneration on. Let the flesh grow around the ring of regeneration, so no one could get it off. So that's Tim thought in his in his character Fensick. Yes, Tim. Thank you. But so we stop here as far as timeline goes. We're only a few pages into. We're only to like adventure 68 out of 834, and we're running adventure number 835 on Thursday. So real quick, let's go over the schedule for what's coming up. So I'm gonna take pictures. I'm gonna put them on Facebook on the normal site, Sages of Earth. I'm doing and my home Facebook page and Twitter. It's El Gazumba if anyone wants to do it. I hate Twitter, but I just had to reserve my name on there. So, I hate it. I'm going to do a prelude for Thursday night's adventure. It's called Power Play in Hardby. It's going to be a group that we have not seen on stream yet. That group is the highest rated mercenary group in Hardby we've had them for a long time. It's the Hardby Irregulars.
Yep. Led by Michael Baton.
Led by Then's favorite character.
No.
And technically, all right. So technically, Michael Baton's in another group, but there's some crossover. The Furies. So the general premise. The general premise for this adventure is this: there will be a Throne of Wood meeting, and that's all womanhood in Hardby. And the Throne of Wood's going to ask the Hardby regulars to do something, and everybody's like, I don't know if I want to do that. Well, Throne of Wood's asking you to do it. And that's where we'll start. And so Bill is now crafting some stuff for that, and hopefully we'll have some of that extra pop on our terrain for Thursday night. That prelude...
Could be done.
What's that? Oh, awesome.
After we get off, I'll show you an update.
Can I prove the lightning rod didn't absorb fire? Then, you saw it, yes. You know how I prove it? By typing this out one more time. Multiple times. No, just no. The DM says it doesn't, therefore it doesn't. So that's trust me, no just no applies to mostly what Tim does in the game and Alan does in the game.
Yep.
It's no, just no. So, but we all understand why on that. So the Prelude's only a half hour long. I do it for the benefit of my players. I can watch it and then get a general idea. And I do it so you guys can get an idea of the terrain. It's from 7:30 to 8. Hey man, if you can hop on Wednesday evening, great. The adventure, it's a 2-weeker. We start it Thursday night at 7:30, and because we don't have to get it done, we'll be finishing by 11:15 on Thursday night. This Gabbin Lord Peakshaven 19, the campaign to the present, will be next Sunday the same time, 7:30 to 9. Then Monday, Mark's group, which is on every other week, the Adventures of Slap, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. That'll be on the week after. They're every other Monday. So we got 2 groups running on that. There may be some fillers. There may be something next Saturday. This kids thing I'm trying to get started with and we may have a board game night too, either or. So there may be an event going on Saturday morning, late morning, or Saturday evening. Hey man, we play Catan on here occasionally, but I'm trying to get a new D&D group started up with kids who have never played before, and we're gonna start by building characters during the stream and all. We're gonna start from scratch, and these are the guys that were. It's my friend Steve who doesn't play D&D, him, his son Tommy, and then a couple other kids, and my son will join in. And if Bill's around, him and his son will join in too. And we'll create characters from scratch and then run a quickie adventure. So I think that'll be really cool. We're trying to get that started for next Saturday. So Bill, show us, man. Show us what you got, man.
No, this is it's too early.
Oh, it's too early. Okay, you got
It's
anything
too
else?
early. I can show you what I did make this week.
All right, show us what you're making.
Every medieval town has an oak tree where they plaster their little signs of what they need and stuff on it. So that's what I added.
Oh, that is awesome, man.
Big oak tree with a bunch of signs and papers and notes tacked to it. So.
That is a great touch.
Amazing.
That is fantastic. That is so cool, man. So cool.
That's the only one. The other stuff's not ready for preview yet.
I used something you just brought to me this Thursday, and you'll be happy. You'll see it.
Cool.
You'll be very happy about it. So, once again...
Dracolich?
No.
Oh.
No, you'll see. Anyone with any questions about what we've discussed tonight? I know we need to tie yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. Yeah. Yeah. I have another way of singing that, but I won't do it unless I have a couple of drinks in me. It has something to do with Walt and something. So yes, we won't. Yes. All right. So Fraley and all the other guys that are fairly new, there's a panel on us below. It's called Blackwind Terrain, okay? That is Bill's Facebook page. He posts everything he crafts for us on there. So you click on that and it'll go right to his Facebook page. You can see all the great stuff he's crafted for us.
Yeah, it's not a sales site or anything. It's
not a sales site.
People who want to see what we're using. That's all.
Absolutely. Yep. So that's Blackwind Terrain. The Miniature Building Authority Kickstarter for Harbor Town, the ads I show at the beginning, is closed. We had 101 backers, over $60,000 in backing, so it went all the way out to like bonus number 6. He had a bonus 7 at the last second, but we got all sorts of cool stuff. We have of course I put in a fair amount to that and had some assistance from Mark, and I appreciate that. We won't see that stuff till next year, but our sponsor, Miniature Building Authority, is a fantastic company. When a lot of the city stuff we do in the Castle Siege event we did 2 weeks ago, it's all MBA. Bill does all the terrain work and all the specialty work, but I am, and he builds a lot of buildings, which we used last week, but I love the MBA stuff. It's hard resin. It's nice. It is a little pricey. I know and remember this, guys. Then won a gift certificate first time, and Jacob Jansen won it. Our next drawing for followers and subscribers, Thursday, December 6th, during our broadcast, we'll be giving out another $75 gift certificate for MBA and a $25 gift certificate to MBA. The 75 is for the subscribers only, but the 25 all you have to do is be a follower and be on to be eligible to win that $25 gift certificate. right for the Christmas time season, the holiday season. And I've been told by Kirk, the owner of NBA, he's going to have a sale right for Christmas. So you'll be able to utilize that. And Fen, can't wait for stuff to arrive. Fen, you got to let us know and take some pictures of it when it comes.
Absolutely.
Fraley, so you're asking a question that's rhetorical. In a campaign this long, what level are the characters? Next
Yes.
We will talk about that next week when we have adventuring groups. We have 17 different adventuring groups, not counting the Knights of Eula characters, starting right now from 3rd and 4th all the way up to 11th and 12th. So this week we're playing the Hardby Irregulars, 7th, 8th level. There's only one 9th level character. It's an NPC straight mage. So 7th and 8th mostly. If Tom comes, he has a 6th level multi-class and Skeet, and he has a 8th level thief. So that's the level we'll be playing. We play in that mid-range. In Greyhawk, you're really high level around 12, super high at 12. 11th, 12th is high level for us. It's not like Forgotten Realms where people go up to 20th. That usually ends where it goes. So, pre-painted stuff is awesome. I can't wait to see this stuff arrive. I'll be probably getting some other things. Icarus, if you look down, we are old. I know you guys are new to the stream. I appreciate it, man. We are old school first, second edition gamers. Hybrid, first, second edition, a lot of custom rules. A lot of custom spells, custom classes. A lot of the Gabbin shows that explained that earlier are probably erased. We only have 60 days back, but you probably can catch some of them. I have archived them on YouTube at Lord Gazumba, and there's a space on that, Lord Gazumba. So those vids of all the Gabbin shows are there, and they show all the custom stuff we do first and second edition. We're not 5 years at all. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, man. We have so much developed into this campaign. We have a hero point system, custom feats that we use in place of weapon proficiencies that we develop. We develop new classes to this day. Bill created a class called the Maester, which is unbelievable class.
Yeah, it's stole directly from Game of Thrones, but it works out. We made specialty archer classes. We have specialty paladin classes. Lots of fun.
Yeah, that yes was to both Sprocket and Nicholas and to everyone else in the Fraley and all that. We have a ball playing it, and it's been such a great time that we didn't. 3rd edition gave us one thing, and that was let's utilize the feat idea, because what do you need to be proficient with 8 weapons, right? So we created some things and made it weapon proficiencies / special things you could do with those proficiencies. So blind fighting, monkey grip, sword and board, they're all in there, and there's a whole list of them. It's kind of cool. So it is first, second edition with a lot of homebrew, and that's where we are.
So Jay, to be perfectly honest, it actually gave us 2 things. It gave us the first thing you just talked to, and the second thing it gave us was a great appreciation for what we have the first and second, and never go to 3rd and higher.
That's absolutely true. Now I'll say this one thing, and I met a guy today who knew the guys from Necromancer Games. Necromancer Games, the Relics and Rituals books are 3rd edition, but they're freaking fantastic. All the Necromancer Game stuff, it says 3rd edition look, 1st edition feel, if anyone knows them. I recommend all that stuff. Frog God bought the rights to it all. It's great stuff that you can convert back. It's some really the Hollow Faust. Bill was into that too. A lot of really cool things on there.
Yep.
So,
all right. So Jay, I need to sign off just so that you know.
All right, hop off, man. I appreciate it, Mark. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
I'm gonna do
so
1 or 2
thanks,
minor
everybody.
things.
We will see you
I'm
on
still on
Thursday
for another 5, and then we'll call it. I'll see you Thursday night, Mark.
All right.
Some other
Thanks,
things. God, I just lost my train of thought there with Mark going off. High fantasy, low fantasy. I have weaned down. That's a good question, Nicholas. I'm sorry, Fraley. That's a good question. We have weaned down the magic item amount because I've gotten a feel on play style now, and we've added a lot of booster items like masterwork weapons, keen weapons. A lot of weapons have special abilities. A lot of weapons have there's a lot of spell slotted bonus items. So it's not just getting a +2 sword now. I give out a +2 sword, +3 versus magic users. It's keen or that has a massive crit on it or whatever. So that's how I've done it. Less magic items, but more unique flavor magic items. So I'll tell Mark you said goodbye on that, man. And hey, Tom, hopefully you enjoyed this. Tom, you're definitely coming Thursday, right? I want to see your hands up or a yes or fingers on that because I'm writing you guys in. So, so what do you want to wrap up with, Bill? What do you want to say? I know you had no characters mentioned yet.
No, but you know what? It's the work that's gone into the past is paid off in the present. Yep. I mean, the time you take to develop your campaign, regardless of where it is or when it is, the more detail you pour in it, the more flavor you have. Big thing is, as a DM, listen to your players' input. Sometimes people have good ideas. It's worth listening to.
Absolutely.
Even if you take a little chunk of it, it's worth it. But like I said, any detail or information you can put out there just makes it easier.
Yeah, Freddie, you bring up a good point there with the magic too, and playing with these guys for so long, I got the feel of where I need to be, and it's not like those guys are like hurting for stuff, but you gotta give them stuff that is advantageous to them playing the class. For example, single straight spellcasters, man, you slot your spells and you cast your spells and they're gone. And you only get so many back during resting. You have to have things that enhance that. That's why I give out a lot of stuff that has bonus spell levels on it. Like a robe of spell casting, which maybe give you the equivalent of Bracer's Armor class 8, but it gives you a bonus second level spell. So that's the kind of thing that as a DM you work on, and it's not about loot for us. Like I said, I've been playing. Bill's out of my group of players. Bill, what did you come on? We say 91 or 92?
Yeah, it's around 92.
92, and we're going to talk about that next week. Where Bill falls in the next generation of to the present group. So right now, if you look at my main group of players, Tom's in. That's great. So here we go. Right now, so you got Alan. Alan's from 78. Okay. You got Walt. Walt is from 81, 82. 80, 81, 82. Same with Tim. 81, 82. Mark's from 83, 84. Tom is from 85, 86, 87, okay, and Bill's from 91, 92, and we haven't no one else. Sometimes we have an occasional guest or whatever, and now we're playing in 2018, so 90, what's that? 26 years, right? Is that right? 16, 26. I haven't had a new player in 26 years, so. Yep, and we played some Dragonlance is great books, but the modules were very linear, so we tried them, and we were talking about that early on. I think before we came on, so that we played 3 Dragonlance adventures and brought it back to Greyhawk after that, and decided Greyhawk was where we wanted to be. So, have you guys managed to stay in the same city for all these years? No, we Thursday nights Hardby. And we have 3 main cities we use. We use Greyhawk City, we use Hardby, and we use our own homegrown city, Altamira, which is on where Principality Ulick, County Ulick, and the Sus Forest and the Jewel River are meet right there in the hills. It's on.
That does count Shieldlands, which we do a lot in.
Shieldlands as well. We do a lot of Shieldlands. We do some Keelland stuff here and there, some Furiandi stuff here and there. So we bounce around all over the place on that. So. Yeah, exactly, Tim. Why get new players when you have the best players? I gotta say, I have one of the greatest groups I can, and that's why it's gone so long. DM players, it's been fantastic. We've had a lot of fun. We have a lot of, great memories, and that's why I wanted to bring this campaign early years to you guys to see. It went from Monty Hall to some really great memories in the early era, and I'm looking forward to creating some new ones with everyone on here and all you guys watching, and so. I should say this. In real life, yes. So, all right. So, Nicholas, we live in South Jersey. Tim has been all over the world. Tim's retired now. He retired lieutenant colonel in the Army. Tim was all over the world, but he would come back and he'd play. A lot of us went off to college here and there, but we played during the off time, when we came back and stuff. But we've all grown up in the South Jersey area, so right outside Philadelphia. So if anyone's going to be at PAX Unplugged, I will be there. And I'm DMing there November 30th and December 1st. So, and that's in Philadelphia. The first time I've ever run something at an event. That'll be fun. So, yes, in real life, we are South Jersey guys right outside Philadelphia. A lot of guys that went to Rowan, which used to be Glassboro, and we were all in this area here. Alan went to Delaware. He didn't go that far away. So, but yeah. Yeah, and that's it. Tim's seen that stuff he doesn't want to talk about. So, yeah, but Tim's hardcore. So, with that, I know Bill's 10 minutes behind on his Walking Dead, but that's okay.
Absolutely.
We went extra long. We had Tim's hardcore, man. He's hardcore as it gets, Ranger and everything. Any last comments or questions or things? I'll say this: our last our last stream Thursday night was the most unique viewers we've ever had. We almost had 100. That's pretty good. We had the highest viewership at once ever. We broke records on that, but this is going to be almost a record here too. So Thursday night, Prelude Wednesday night, Thursday night, it's going to be called Power Play and Hardby, and I look forward to it. It's going to be a lot of sea-based stuff. Be pretty cool. So, thanks a lot. I'm going to, I know we went over our time, but that's okay. So, please throw me a line. You can always whisper me on here. You can reach me at El Gazumbo on Twitter, or you can reach me on the Cannon Fire, Sages of Earth, Old School Philly Gamer site, any of those sites on Facebook. Ask me any questions. Hey, Freddie, thanks for tuning in on Thursday and saying that. And I'll see Tom on Thursday. Tim, you're always welcome to come to at any point. You're more than welcome to come in. We're going to call it an evening tonight. Thanks a lot for watching Gabbin at Lord Peaks Haven, number 18. The coolest bar in Tringley in the Duchy of Ulick. Drink some of those Trolls Piss and get on the Wall of Fame. So thanks a lot, guys. We'll see you soon.